All right, welcome to my FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there are multiple mediums in which you can engage with this content. But my favorite way is the blog. And the blog is parked at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. And that's a lot to remember or to type in. So, wherever you are enjoying this content, look for a prompt of more info, intro, description, something of that nature. Click on that. Another box opens with a link directly to the blog, the free blog. And you don't even have to put your email address in, and I don't try to sell you anything. And there's nothing fun or anything. No, I don't have any videos or anything today. Just a lot of news, which I'm not obviously going to be able to cover, but I'll hit the main points. Let's see. It was Sunday. It is Sunday, August 24th. I think I'll get this done to be uploaded for August 24th. Definitely Spotify. YouTube, I don't know. I do Spotify first and then I do the other thing. All right. Just, you didn't really need to know that. So what else? Thank you, thank you, thank you. TE, my sponsor. Thank you. And what else? Thank you for the thumbs up. Don't forget, hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Or you can hit it right now. Okay? Because this is going to be good. There's some we're just going to focus on the good. Okay? But yeah. And what else? There's something else I'm forgetting to say. Whatever. So let's get into it. Okay, I do want to show you this. Look at this. FreightNet. FreightNet.com. So this is, I guess, a site that they go to get rate requests. And look who's there now. Iraq. Freight shipping rate requests from Iraq to the UAE by surface. So that's those new roads. Those new roads have only been open like 3 to 5 months, right? They have the ISCUDA and they have that TIR system. So yeah, so here this is. And I'm not gonna join or anything like that, but I just wanted to show you that. All right, so we'll go back. All right. There was something over here. Oh yeah, we'll get to that later. Okay. All right, so this is a good article. Iraq's economy rebounds, but is the dinar still at risk? So these are two economists I'm not familiar with. I believe this website publication, whatever, is one that goes central and southern Iraq. But they were interviewed on a TV show. So they were pointing out, so here's the boring title. Economists say Iraq is witnessing an economic recovery. So despite all the bad things, there, let's make that bigger. Okay, so, oh, you know what? Okay, I have seen his name. I've seen that Haider because Abadi's first name was Haider Al-Abadi, remember? I know you don't remember that. Why would you? Why do I? Anyway, and then his last name is Sheikh. Confirmed that the Iraqi economy is experiencing a recovery, pointing out that the rise in the US dollar exchange rate against the Iraqi dinar is due to several reasons. So oh yeah, I did want to show you, are these the rates? So here is the closing. This was the closing in Baghdad, Erbil, and Basra, which I guess are the most significant. Ooh, I don't know if that's right, but that's what I'm going to say. Significant places for now, right? Because they're really pumping up Basra because they want Basra to be an oil and financial hub. Okay, but you see these quotes 1415, 1426, 1412. There's no more 1390s, at least for the weekend. And these are down. They were even higher. It was at 1440, 1430. So they are down, but they're still higher than they were. And that's why you have to be careful. You can't just read these titles. You have to open these up and look at the numbers, and then you have to be tracking. Is it a morning quote? Is it an afternoon? Midday is what they call it. Or is it the closing quote? Okay, yeah, all right. So we'll go back. So what else did they say? Look, and then they call him the Sheikh. He said that Iraq is currently experiencing economic revival following the conclusion of the Arbaeen pilgrimage, noting that the demand for the US dollar has exceeded supply. So, again, what I think happened was all those people were there, those extra 4, 5, 7 million, depending on what article you read. And then the ones who could take advantage of that, they took advantage of that. And so hopefully that's why it still hasn't gone down, right? But also, they say, noting that the demand for the US dollar has exceeded supply, which has led to an increase in its exchange rate against the Iraqi dinar in Baghdad and the Kurdistan region. See how they use Iraqi dinar, not the national currency? But anyway, I should let that go. All right. He explained that the increased demand for the dollar is due to several factors, including the approaching winter season. Oh, return of schools. Yep. Other occasions that Iraq will witness next September. What is that? The only thing I know of so far is Iraq is holding, I don't know, that's not the right word either, but the largest real estate convention or conference that Dubai has, right, is going to be in Iraq. Then an international energy summit is also going to be in Iraq. So those are the only two things right now that I know. But I'm like, Dubai is having their largest conference and they're putting it in Baghdad. And so you know Baghdad would want to have their rate changed, right? So we'll see, we'll see. All right, let's see. So what else? They also point out sanctioning Iraqi banks will raise the price of the dollar. We know what's going on there. And commercial fraud in food prices. Now, here's another thing where they have corruption. Even though there's been specific attention paid to trying to keep food prices down, then they have those markets that are subsidized by the government. But remember, not everyone can make it to those markets, right? So another point is here's another day where people are talking about the exchange rate on TV. And so then here they close out with US sanctions affect the dollar exchange rate. So that's why I like that. I know they're saying the dollar rate is higher, but they also are focusing, saying they're still having an economic renaissance, economic recovery. And then here, this was a good article too. Association of Banks payment points, which I believe he means point of sale machines, increased to 60,000 and more than 18 million electronic cards were issued. And this guy, I'm fairly certain, yeah, see, it's the private banks. I forget his name, Ali Tariq. But so these are just the private banks. These aren't numbers for the state banks. And they had pretty high numbers. The state banks had pretty high numbers of these categories also. So that's good. You can read that if you like. Now look at that. Look how big that font is. And then look at this. Look, oh, this was tiny. Okay. So anyway, Iraqi banks face a battle for survival, reform or exclusion. So this would have been a good article to have before they got the extension, right? We know they got the extension, so it gives them more time for survival. Only the strong can survive, right? All right, yeah, so look, the eye is gone. Iraqi banks have no choice. They have no choice but to integrate into the reform process led by the central bank in collaboration with an international consulting firm. And we know who that is. And I think they also mentioned the Federal Reserve, U.S. Treasury, maybe. Oh, Oliver Wyman, the American firm Oliver Wyman. So, same thing. But this is this the CBI saying this? Who's saying this? Perhaps no, it's Jamal Cougar. So wow, look at that. That's 2 days in a row we heard from him. And he had been quiet. I think he wanted the spot back. So remember Atwana 20? He was the Parliamentary Finance Committee chair, but now he's the governor or mayor or whatever of Baghdad. So I bet you Jamal Cougar wanted his spot. But yeah, so there's a long-term plan aimed at restoring confidence and reconnecting Iraq to global markets. You know, we like to see that. And again, here's that it's not merely a technical measure, but rather a project to rebuild confidence in Iraqi banks, both domestically and internationally. But reform will not succeed if it is limited to the administrative dimension. So they're like, you've done everything behind the scenes. Now it's time to make it public, right? That's how I'm interpreting that. So they developed a precise roadmap, reintegrate like that. So yeah. So you can read that if you'd like. Oh shoot, we're already at almost 15 minutes. Okay. I think this is another article, yeah. Same, but basically along the same lines. Or, let me see, is this a different one? No, it's the same one, but now down here, they're talking to Mahmoud Dagger, who was at one time, he did work for the CBI. So they're also quoting Mustafa Hantoush. So that's a pretty big article where they're talking about the situation right now. See there. All right. Oh, here's another one with this huge font. Oh, Kurdish opposition. The region's ruling families control and manage wealth for foreign parties. Oh, look. There's the picture. Look at that. Isn't that a nice little toy right there on his hip? So this is Daddy Barzani. This is the son Barzani. And see, they're the ruling families. Then the Talibanis are next. But so this person is very brave in coming out and accusing them of being slaves to foreign countries, which is probably us. But look what he calls them. These families are the head of the snake in the region, having destroyed and sold everything. I hope that's not true, but it probably is. So he's like, they live good. They hang out with influential people, while the Kurdish citizens suffer from stifling economic and security crises. Yeah, so hopefully that'll get better. But if you want to read that, that's there. See, the ruling families monopolize political and economic decision making, while voices are rising demanding governmental and legislative intervention. And then there's another guy, I was gonna put him, he swears his allegiance to the Barzanis. So I can't imagine it's gonna change anytime soon. But and I hope we're not here to monitor if it changes anytime soon, right? All right. So here's more about the credit rating. But this is Mohammed Saleh. Forgive me. I know I keep messing with this microphone, but it keeps there. I think I got it now. The problem is I keep switching hands and moving around. I can't sit still. That's my problem. I fidget. Not that you need to know that. Jeez Louise. All right. Anyway, so this is Mohammed Saleh coming out, confirming what they talked about last week about the team that Mohammed Sadani put together to rally to try to get a higher credit rating. So here it's a declaration that Iraq has entered a new phase of serious and systematic economic reform. He added all these steps are aimed at developing the business environment, attracting foreign investment, and supporting financial stability by re-examining the country's monetary and fiscal policies on a sustainable basis. See, and what do they say about our economy? The way that we're going cannot be sustained, right? And that's why there had to be changes made. So we'll see. Okay. Oh, I thought there was one more. Well, there might be one more article. I tried to put them all in order, but yeah, it was taking too long. So here's two articles about the budget tables. Can budget tables save Iraq from a financial crisis? And this person was saying it'll be 2 months since they've been submitted to Parliament, but it's been longer than that. And here, look at this. If an austerity portfolio focuses on only necessary expenditures, it may mitigate the severity of the crisis. So that's the first time I heard that word, austerity. I mean, that's not the first time I've heard that word, but in regarding to Iraq's budget, right? Okay, but now this guy, who is a parliamentary services committee member, he says, oh, don't worry. We're going to see the budget schedules by October, a month before the elections. So see, they might just take it down to the wire, right? I don't know. I hope so. Actually, I hope not. I hope they do it sooner. Okay, so here's the other article about the credit rating and what was in here. So this is, let me see, do I still have that? No, I closed it. But if you saw his picture, well, possibly you'd remember him. Anyway, so he's talking about the credit rating is it's an effort to strengthen Iraq's economic and financial position on the international map. Yay! And Sadani continues to implement an ambitious reform program for the financial and banking sector, despite, the elections are creeping up. He's doing a lot. So this guy is talking about Ramadan Bank partnering with K2. That was to improve and develop their performance and enhance their efficiency for international banking operations. Yeah, so another positive article about the credit rating And he says the reform represents a glimmer of hope for putting Iraq on a path to sustainable financial development, but their success will depend on tangible results and the ability to pass the test of true economic transformation. And so if you don't remember, oh, I put that there twice. That was that one. There was an article where it said they saw documents that resembled the Iraqi currency. Remember that? So it looks like he's trying to go, okay, yeah, this is what we look like now, but you know what's about to happen. So we need a higher credit rating. Okay, and these are all the ways you can support my FX buddies. If you'd like, you can buy me a coffee, you can Cash App me or PayPal me. Big or small, I appreciate it all. And I thank you in advance for your generosity. All right. Ooh, look at that. That should not be. Well, for time's sake, I'll try to go back and correct that. But ooh, look at that. Look at those dinars. It's, for those of you who can't see, it's 25K notes and 10K? Yeah, 10K notes. Oh boy. Yeah, let's get off of there because that's hurting my eyes. So they did have the meeting. Remember the Kurdistan delegation went to Baghdad, but of course it ended with no, let's see, I think that first it ends without reaching a final agreement. So next Tuesday they're going to meet. See you next Tuesday. Oh, that's from SpongeBob, but it's not a very nice thing. It's anyway. All right, let's see. Yeah, that's it. There was like 3 or 4 articles about, okay, here, this one. Over the past 4 months, the Kurdistan region employees have received only one salary, and that's May, which they received on July 24th. Okay, so let's see. Even though they were, and look at this picture. I think that's going to be the thumbnail. Woo! All right, anyway, can you say vision board? Vision board? But I guess not, huh? Because I need USD. I can't spend that. I can only spend USD, right? So yeah. So now, well, their back pay would be June and July, and the current pay would be August. And so, see, it says here next Tuesday. But we'll see. We shall see. And there's Maliki. He came out and gave a speech. If you want to read what he said, he's lying. Because he wanted to extend the elections into 2026. But now he's like, no, we have to have the elections now. If you put them off, they will mean chaos. See this right here? Chaos. And remember, that's not the first time he said that. Because I was like, if I was Sadani, I would lock him up for something. I would find some reason to lock him up because it was a threat. It was a threat. All right, anyway. And so now look at this. Sadani has sent in a new battle against corruption mafias. Oil platforms are under the Integrity Commission's scalpel. So there's 11 files. And I don't know, maybe I missed this because I've been like just glancing over oil articles because, you know, how I feel about it's all manipulated anyway, right? But so something's going on, and I'm wondering, is it only Kurdish? Oh no, it does. It says in southern parts. Okay, so investigation placing the oil platforms in the southern parts at forefront of attention. Okay, all right. I was going to say, I hope it's not only the Kurdish oil fields. So there's a lot going on about our troops. They're moving, they're not moving. It was breaking news. Oh, hold on. Pause. All right. I forgot an article, but I put it in. Okay, so now this is again about the sanctions. Now look, this is an American website meddling. So they're bringing up a report, this Real Clear World. They did a report saying the U.S. president's threat of sanctions on Iraq aims to isolate Sudani. So I still can't get a feel, right? One day I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, Sudani and him get along. And then there's so much attention on the Kurdish region right now. Um, I kind of feel we're making a switch. We're making a switch. So here's another reason why I say that. This lady, I think her name is Joni Ernst. So this is nephew Barzani. I don't know how to say his name, and it starts with the N. And he looks like the Barzani, so I call him nephew. And it turns out he is his nephew. Remember, there was something that did confirm that is his nephew. Anyway, yeah, Joni Ernst holds talks on security in Iraq, Kurdistan region. Okay, and then he also met with the EU rep. But I didn't want to put that picture there because it's the same photo, just a different person in the chair. Okay, so here, this was breaking news at about 3 a.m. my time. U.S. forces in sudden withdrawal from Ain al-Assad, if that's how you say that, and victory bases in Iraq. I don't know where this victory base is, but I have seen this one on the map. So they're gone. Supposedly, they're gone. And I think even like I'm not going to say the embassy, but like civilian support something or another that closed also. And I'm like, why would you have that on a base? But I also think there's an oil field on that base too. So that's 2,000 American soldiers. That's a nice song by somebody, starts with a T. So they've been moving them and they think it'll be finalized within the next few days. However, they're going to Syria and Kurdistan. So they're not fully leaving Iraq. And then remember, oh, yes. That's what I wanted to show you. Okay. Come over here. This. All right. Where's the title? Okay, I have to be careful. Can't show those pew-pews. What is behind the withdrawal of U.S. forces from Iraq? But so here's a summary. So I'll put a link to this if you want to read it. And I'm not going to read this because, well, it boils down to we're supposed to leave. We're supposed to start leaving in September of 2025 and be fully gone in September 2026. But you see, this is times 2. Remember that? It appears they're going to be in the news more. So that's what I'm calling them, is times 2. Okay? And they're giving them a warning. whoever's writing this, it's like an Arab publication, but it goes to like England. It goes to like where there's big Arab populations, but not necessarily specifically Arab countries. Right? Does that make sense? And we're almost done. I know it's 30 minutes. We're almost done. Um, and they're like, remember what happened when you left the Afghanistan. So, yeah, so there's a long, long report, um, full of, don't believe those other reports. We're telling you the truth, right? So, but I will put a link to that if you want to see that. It'll be at the very bottom, okay? But I think that's it since we're over here. Let's check Forex. Did it move? Okay, here we go. Oh, 1272. Okay, let's write that down. 1272. Let's check the Google. It was at 1295. Let's see. 1298. So the Google is at 1298. So the dollar's going lower. So the dinar is increasing, right? Because this is in dollar to dinar. I think that's right. I don't know. You get less dollars. You get less dinar for the same dollar. Yeah. So the value's going down. All right. Okay, let's go back. So then I just wanted to show you. Okay, this guy, he's a member of parliament. And look what he says. This is a word I don't say. Errorism is a pretext for keeping its forces in Iraq. He's talking about us, that we do that. And like I said, all of a sudden it's time for us to leave. And is, and the other, I'm not going to say, but it starts with AL. All of a sudden they're showing up again, right? So this was the other, when I said I hadn't heard of austerity regarding the budget in Iraq. And here's an economist saying that they're preparing an austerity budget. I don't believe that though. I think he's just speaking out because he's mad. He wants to know what's going on with the budget. But he does have a pretty good argument also. He says oil is going below $70. The deficit is, the deficit is increasing, it seems, right? But look at this, the government to resort to borrowing. And I thought, Sadani may be onto something. He may know he's going to have to borrow money, and that's why he wants a better credit rating. So they'll get a lower interest rate, right? So it could be possible. And then here's another person saying Washington will not withdraw from Iraq. And they're just threats. And he's a former deputy prime minister. So guess what? He knows how it works. All right, now we're done. All right, so I won't keep you. So what I'm hoping to see this week, I'm hoping to see the parallel market rate go below 1400 again, or just be gone, period, right? That would be the best. A result on the Kurdish salaries, which would also give us some solid something on the oil. And perhaps we'll hear from Ali Alak again about something. But I just want them to continue talking about the exchange rate every day, even if they are saying it's going lower. I just think it's good that they're having that conversation for the people to see. All right. Thank you. Again, I'll just say hit the thumbs up button on your way out. But if you didn't see yesterday's update, just hang tight. a little box is going to come up that you could click and watch it. All right. Thank you. Let's get ready for a good week. The last All Things Are Possible in August week. All right. So enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you're indulging in this content. And until next time.